Good evening, everyone. You already know what it is. It is our question for today. So our question for today was, if you were wrongly convicted of a crime and stood against charges that could land you up to prison for 4 years, if given the chance, would you bribe yourself? Yes or no, and why? Let's take a look at some of the comments that have been coming in from you guys. Eric Omba says here, no, bribing will convict people. You're guilty. Stand for the truth, and the truth shall set you free, because God's justice will finally prevail. And over here, Mark says here, I think this is a question from the justice system, and religious morals may be of no consequence. I asked you to clarify that, and you said that I think it's very important to separate constitutional laws and religious morals. And over here, Darkside Delwood says here, if it is necessary for me to bribe so as to get acquitted, I would most likely bribe myself my way out, since it's a matter of necessity. However, if I can legally get myself out, then so let it be. And last comment over here from Davis Wamboa, who says, our judicial system history has been corrupt. If need be, I'd rather gain my freedom rather than stake it in the mercy of prosecution. Thank you all for your comments and views. Remember that you can engage with us on our question for today. All you have to do is just look at our question at our Politically Correct Kenya page or my page, Maya Hayakawa. Welcome back. You're watching Politically Correct with me, Maya Hayakawa. We've been having a very candid conversation with Teresa Njoroge as she shares her story and her life in prison, before prison, and now we're getting into reintegration and how she's managed to rebuild her life after prison. And she founded an organization known as Clear Trust, which Clean Start, which is an organization that works with women who serve time in prison and are now reintegrating back into society. And so it's all about making that a smooth process and making sure that they have access to the resources that are needed to go through that reintegration process. But a personal question that I have for you, do you feel like life was stolen from you?
Yes and no. You try to patch up the time where you were terminated from work so abruptly and going through the court process and imprisonment, and now you're out. So in between, you wonder, how am I going to patch up this time that has gone? And the reason why I say no is because it's that time that I felt that I lost that's actually the bridge between me being in the corporate world and now as a social entrepreneur assisting these women who are from such poor backgrounds get clean starts, you know, in their lives. Because had I not gone through that journey, I wouldn't truly understand what it is like. So yes and no, you know. And as I say, yes, because for about 6 years, in and out of court, it's not productive at all. You're really not building yourself. You know, you're in a position where you can't truly explain what's going on with your life, you know. And then all of a sudden, what comes out of it is that experience is actually now the foundation of the work that you're doing. Yeah.
And like you said, you've actually had to go through the process. And so when you finally finished serving your time and now it was time to go home, what next? What happened? What was it like? Because most people assume that, you know, you come out of prison and you're like, yay, I'm out, I'm free.
Yeah.
But it's a whole journey all over again.
Exactly. So you leave prison and you feel like you've come into another new country because you can't quite relate where you were and now being out. And it actually starts dawning on you because of the way you're being treated, the labels, the stigmatization. Oops, I'm an ex-convict, I'm an ex-inmate. It starts sinking now that it's no longer the same as before I went into prison. And rejected by employers, family, friends, resenting you. It's truly a different experience. And as I was going through this, and I thank God so much for my family, because I had a launch pad, you know, somewhere to start. I'd get calls from the women that I had served time with who had nowhere to go to, nothing to start with. And it's going through that entire journey that made me resonate with what they were going through, because I couldn't find someone who could employ me.
You have to inform your employer that you are an ex-inmate. Is that correct?
Exactly.
You have to put that on your CV?
Yes.
That's part of what the law states.
Exactly. And with the background checks, they will definitely find out that you are an ex-convict. And as much as you have been cleared, for instance, in my case, I was cleared and vindicated, it's very difficult to still work with people in the corporate world having come with such kind of a background. So I immediately started creating awareness of what was going on in prison, speaking in churches, looking for a few ex-colleagues and former friends who I felt and knew would appreciate and put themselves in the shoes that I was in, to assist not only myself but the other women as well. And my initiative then was called Support Me in My Shoes. And after a while of running around with Support Me in My Shoes, that's when now I registered legally Clean Start, you know, to empower these women, to inspire them and equip them. Because I came to understand that we, the public, and even policymakers, too often think that poverty is simply a lack of income. But living with these women, I came to understand that it's more. It's a multidimensional phenomenon that encompasses now the chronic lack of resources, capabilities. They don't have choices. They don't have security or power. There's so much that this woman does not have other than income. And we must look, if you're looking into empower this woman, you must look holistically at all these areas. And that's what Clean Start is all about. How can we empower this woman holistically? Not just looking for a source of income for this woman. This woman is illiterate, does not even know how to write the name. Water, sanitation, housing, food, and all these basic necessities. So we look at it from a holistic angle, and it's coming on very well, and I'm very pleased to the many supporters who've come on board to partner. And like now, we're actually working on cancer awareness, the education. This woman does not even have that time to even think about healthcare, because their number one priority is putting food on their table. But besides that, there's the healthcare. You know, as much as we're empowering you, we need you to be healthy and alive to take care of your children and pass on this education to your children, you know. So creating generations of coming out of poverty into wealth creation, you know, eventually. Yeah.
So could you highlight some of the main programs, some of the main activities that Clean Start is all about?
We initially actually came up with a concept of having these women get employed as cleaners or just basic work that they could do, get a salary, and then from that salary have some savings, and then onto their small micro business that they're passionate about. But it didn't seem to go onto very well because of the stigma that comes with being an ex-convict working for me as a cleaner, or I mean, it's still there in our community. So we paused that for a bit and focused more on entrepreneurship. So under entrepreneurship, we take them through the entrepreneurship classes and focus on how can we get capital for this woman to eventually now start their own small micro business. We also have the Precious Diva program, where we want to let this woman know you're precious. As much as you've come from this background, you're a diva and you're precious, because it's all about the mind, how you perceive things, from what perspective are you looking at things from, you know. So the Precious Diva program actually inspires this woman to look at themselves as someone who's precious, who is entitled to access to all these basic needs, and stop looking at it from a deprivated angle, you know. Yeah, so we have that. We have the health education aspect of it, you know, and of course we bring in the spiritual bit of it, where we partner a lot with churches, because it's the responsibility of the church, especially when it comes to aftercare, to hold the hands of these women or even men when they leave prison, belonging to a particular church. And we find that it's very difficult and it reduces the number of recidivism when a person is welcomed by their church. So we also bring in the spiritual angle of it, because when someone is living for a bigger purpose, you know, I know that they are accountable to God for the life that they have been given as a blessing, then at that point, you know, they want to give more, you know, and know that I'm accountable for my life. I've been blessed with this life to do more, not just find a way of putting food on my table. There's so much more that I'm entitled to. Yeah, so we bring in quite a blend on the table for the women.
And for the viewers that are watching right now and are feeling inspired and saying, I want to be part of this movement, I want to make a difference, I want to do something, what can they do?
Awesome. That will be so nice. They can volunteer in very many ways. There are hundreds of people who are behind bars who never get visited. And if you would sincerely want to bring hope to this person, just a word of encouragement, you are more than welcome to come with us to visit these people. Come with a bar of soap, come with some tissue paper, come with some toothpaste, just the basic toiletries that will enable this person feel I'm cared about, and I long to go back out into society because people still care for me. And besides volunteering to visit the inmates and bringing along some basic necessities for them, for the women who have already left prison, they also need you to come and inspire them, hold their hand and say, I'm willing to help you start your small kiosk for vegetables, you know, second-hand clothes. There's some who can make soap, you know. There's some who do makeup very well, hairdressers, and say, yes, I have a hair dryer that I can help you with. I have some rollers that I can assist you with. I have a sewing machine, some material that I can assist you with to start your sewing small micro initiative that you have. There's, I mean, it's far and wide how they can come in, partner, and assist, reintegrate these women. Yeah. How
can we reach you? How can we contact Clean Start if we want to be part of it?
They can get a hold of me through my phone number, which I'll be very happy to share with you. My email address, so they could call me, they could email me, they could like our Facebook page, Clean Start, you know, and I'll give you all the contacts through which they can contact me, get in touch with us, and let's help these women, you know, reintegrate back into society, and also reach out to them from where they come from before they get caught in this revolving door of crime and incarceration.
All right, thank you for that. And for my final question, I'd like to know, it's actually more like two questions.
Okay.
But the first one being, what was your greatest lesson, your most valuable, greatest lesson that you've learned throughout this whole journey from the very beginning all the way until here today where you're sitting here with me? And finally, your last comments and thoughts that you would like our audience to go home with.
My greatest lesson is to stand for what is true and what is right. At the end of the day, it will all come out to light. So let's stand with integrity. Let's be role models in our different areas that we've been called to serve our great nation, Kenya. Do what is right, stand with the truth, because even if you've been falsely accused, it will still at the end of the day come out. When it comes to the criminal justice system, do not be partisan of bribing, and then start complaining there is corruption. If you do not bribe, corruption will not happen. Go through the system. Wherever it is, be a role model. Let's be people of integrity. Let's be people of accountability, and that's how we're going to grow, So that's my greatest lesson, and I'd want to even reach out to other people who are in the government as role models. Stand for the truth. Do what is right, You're the person who is representing hundreds of thousands of others out there in society. So be that role model for these people. Yeah, and I believe that's how our country, Kenya, will grow in the different areas, that we need to. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for joining me on this show. And again, thank you for sharing your story and being so honest and open with me. And I'd just like to commend you for all the lovely work that you've been doing at Clean Start. And I'd also like to wish you all the best going forward as well.
Thank you. So much. Thank you so very much as well, Maya. I appreciate it.
Today's show is all about triumph. It's about strength. It's all about resiliency. Hopefully today you are inspired by Teresa's story. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Remember to like our Facebook page, Politically Correct Kenya, and of course Twitter too, @PCorrectKE. If you'd like to share your story, please feel free to reach out to me. You never know. Also subscribe to our YouTube page for previously aired episodes. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I will see you next time. Good night.